definitely have the name wrong.
Dog of the year.
I'm not even close. That's because it's funny because I put dog of the year in the notes, and then whenever I was looking up, I was looking for year of the dog like in the search, and that's also not it. But that actually got me it. That search got me it on Netflix.
Of course it did.
Because then I was like, wait, is this it? This is Power of the Dog. Is this the one he was talking about? And it's like, oh yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch and Kirsten Dunst. I was like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is it.
I mean, cool. I saw that all week on the show notes. I could have changed it, but I just left it there for you.
I know. I was expecting you to change it, but no, you're leaving me in my shame. Yeah, let's just get going. Hey, what's up? It's DeadEndRoad Show. This is episode 30. Is it 34? I thought it was 35. Shit, I'm screwing up all over the place.
Well, the notes say 34.
I know, but in the file I just created, I typed 35.
Oh, then I don't know then.
Yeah. It's 30-something. So yeah, it's Bill and Ian here. This is going to be, I think, this is the last show of the year, actually. So it's Dog of the Year. Coming in hot. Yeah, we're not gonna do any kind of yearly recap-y bullshit because who gives a shit. But we will be going over some our favorite albums of the year in a little bit because that is the most up-to-date sort of thing that we pay attention to. So stick around for that. But first, you put this in sort of at the 11th hour. You have a dead wrong here.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed about this one.
Yeah, okay.
So last week we had sort of an impromptu dead wrong where I corrected something I said about Drake. But during that dead wrong, I said something else incorrect about Drake.
Okay, before you continue.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, fuck, wrong one. Shit.
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just keep slandering Drake every week. Yeah, so what it was this time was I misquoted a lyric. There's a lyric on his new album, and I thought it went. I thought it was like, we need more teens in here. I like it crowded. That's what I thought the lyric was. But what it really is we need more things in here. But things is like accented like without the H, so it's like it's like tings. So I really I misunderstood that.
In your defense, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
What is he, a hoarder? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I'd have to look at the whole
I need more things.
Song again and figure out the context. But it wasn't teens, and that's the important thing.
Okay, well at least there's that. Still, he does some sketchy shit.
Yeah, I guess it was on my mind.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Yeah, I feel bad about it. Like I'm ruining our chances of ever having Drake on the show.
You know, I think we'll be okay, and I think Drake is gonna be okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah. So let's move into our movie this week, which is not called Dog of the Year, and it's not called Year of the Dog. But if you search for Year of the Dog on Netflix, it'll get you there.
So they don't have the rights to the the Westminster Kennel Club dog show? I
don't think they do, actually, because I didn't see it on the search results.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a lot of dog movies. So Power of the Dog this week. Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons.
Directed by Jane Campion, one of our finest filmmakers, in my opinion. Yeah, so do you want to give a brief synopsis of what this was?
Sure.
I toss this to you every time now.
Yeah. This is the gayest movie I've ever seen.
Whoa. Okay.
No, it is. It is.
That's surprise. Okay, sure.
It is.
Really? Because I guess you haven't seen a lot of gay movies then.
I guess I haven't, but this is pretty damn gay.
I mean, it is. It definitely is. I just didn't think you would stamp it as the absolute gayest.
I don't think nothing else is coming to mind that would be gayer.
Okay. So you haven't seen Portrait of a Lady on Fire, or
I haven't seen that yet.
You haven't seen Carol, or
no.
Okay. Yeah. So you're definitely all right.
And maybe this is just recency bias because I finished it 15 minutes ago. But yeah, it's pretty damn gay. So yeah, this is a movie about there are two brothers and they are ranchers and they've made a fair bit of money doing so. They own their own ranch and they're doing quite well for themselves. That's Benedict Cumberbatch and Jesse Plemons' characters. And they're on they go on a cattle drive and they stop at an inn restaurant sort of thing run by Kirsten Dunst's character. And they have a meal there, and while they're there, Benedict Cumberbatch is just laying into Kirsten Dunst's son for his effeminate behavior and sort of awkward manner. And then Jesse Plemons' character is enamored with the Kirsten Dunst character because I guess they have to have that in their contract these days.
Well, aren't they a couple in real life?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes. And so then they soon get together and marry, and Benedict Cumberbatch's character hates this. And basically because he both hates Kirsten Dunst's character and also the son. And he's just sort of a miserable, gruff dude. And the Jesse Plemons character is kind of this clueless, bumbling guy because that's the kind of character he plays. And things kind of go on from there. I don't know how deep we want to get into,
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a little bit tough, I think, to talk about like some of the big themes of this movie without getting into spoiler territory.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's basically the setup for it. So apart from being the gayest movie you've ever seen, what did you think of this?
I think it was difficult to get a sense of like what this was going for until it concludes.
Okay.
Like it is a movie that is so dependent on it finishing, if you know what I mean. Like it you need to have the ending, otherwise it's like, well, what was the point of any of this?
Interesting. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Okay.
Because I was actually like really, really into everything that was going on, and then the ending kind of surprised me. And so I've been sort of processing the ending and whether it entirely worked for me, like in, within the rest of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And I do ultimately think it did. But like the movie didn't like it didn't hinge on the ending for me. Like I feel like it had a lot going on like psychologically with these characters all throughout that was like building and building. That like it could have ended differently and still resonated for me, I think.
I think that it was if it didn't end that way, it would have been desperately searching for an ending.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like there would not have been a as tidy a way to do it, and it really hinged on the fact that the ending was set up fairly well by prior events, and like I'm skirting around it because I'm not trying to say the ending.
Well, maybe we could just like go through some of the themes of it, and then if we can like do a spoiler section where we kind of talk about the actual ending, because it is tough to kind of just like dance around the details, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like I felt like this movie was really going in on like gender norms, and even like more broadly like societal norms. Because like this kid, Peter, is his name, I believe, the son of the Kirsten Dunst character. I mean, for one, he's queer, and then also,
is he, or is he just a kid?
No, I think it's implied that he is. I think it's implied that he has so much in common with the Benedict Cumberbatch character that it's like the ending for me is almost like, well, now I'll get into spoilers, but like there's like so much that those two characters have in common, which is why ultimately I think the way it ends actually works really well. But we can get into that. But like, so on the one hand, you have like the gender norms that he's dealing with, right? Because he's different in that regard. But then you have like, I think this character is like neurodivergent too, right? It's just like the way he views.
Yeah, he's got something up with him. Yeah.
Yes, like just like the way he thinks and the way he views the world around him is just different from like these like what society expects of a boy or a man, right, at that time, especially when you're on like a cattle ranch and like you're the lifestyle that goes along with that. So I think there's a lot going against this kid, and I just thought it was interesting how it explored all that in the context of like the 1920s and the 1920s Western,
It's kind of interesting to me because I feel like I knew like 5 of those kids in elementary school that acted like that. But like if this was set in the 90s, like it wouldn't, he wouldn't draw as much attention to himself. It's the fact that he's like almost out of context. The fact that it takes place in like 1925. You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah. I mean, definitely. I think especially like kids these days are more accepting of people in general, right? Like there's less like harassment and bullying going on. At least I don't even
necessarily know that like the kid is neurodivergent or whatever. Or if he's just awkward, he's just a kid,
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of like basing it off of like his interests and the way he like approaches those interests and the way he interacts with other characters and maybe some of like the habits that he like takes on. Like you have the comb, like the stimming of the comb, right? Like you just have like different like little things that I was picking up on that just kind of like give you insight into like how this character sees the world and how things affect him and whatnot.
Sure.
But like the main thing is that like this is a kid that's like out of place in this world, right?
Yes.
And so you have that, and then you have this sort of like psychological like intimidation battle between Kirsten Dunst and Benedict Cumberbatch, and that's like playing with like toxic masculinity in a way, and like repression for sure, and like alienation, and just like there's like so much, there's like a war going on between those two characters, but it's like entirely unspoken.
Yeah. Well, isn't it like fairly one-sided? Like the Kirsten Dunst character kind of doesn't do much.
Well, it's yes, it is,
except exists in this house that Benedict Cumberbatch's character has an issue with.
Totally. But I think what's so smart about it is one-sided in that Cumberbatch is in the wrong almost entirely for like the most part. But like the movie also makes an effort to like sympathize with him while he's being like a shithead,
Yeah.
Because like you see why the things are affecting him. And then of course later on you learn even more context into why things are affecting him and why he's like sort of alienated himself, or at least believes himself to be alienated from the rest of like his family and the people around him. So it's like it gets into his head and like makes you kind of understand where he's coming from, even though he's being like awful to people, which I really thought was smart and really well written characters,
I do have to say that for as much as I was fine with Cumberbatch's performance, his accent is not good.
Really? You didn't think it was good?
No. Anytime I see him do an American accent, it is not good.
I can't even recall the last time I've heard him do an American accent.
He sounds like Kermit the Frog.
Oh, come on. No, that's too far. I thought it was perfectly acceptable. I thought his performance was outstanding.
I thought it was good, but you have to like suspend your disbelief. Like you have to remove the accent from the rest of the performance. Like you have to pretend that he is not Benedict Cumberbatch putting on an American affect. Like, yeah, you have to like train your brain. It took me at least half an hour to be like, all right, I got to stop thinking about Benedict Cumberbatch's accent.
It took me maybe 5 lines. I'm like, he speaks for the first time. I'm like, oh, that's what he's doing. And then I'm fine. Like, I thought it was really good. But yeah, so maybe we can get into like maybe some details of like the actual story and the ending specifically, because I wanted to see what you think of the ending, since like the entire movie depended on it or relied on it.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely did, because you have the moment where it's like, okay, and like we already set this up, so this is spoiler heavy shit.
Yeah.
So Benedict Cumberbatch's character bites it. He's dead, and it happens very like starkly, where he's alive in one scene, and then it cuts, and then all of a sudden he's in a casket. Like that is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so then you're sort of like, oh, what the fuck? And then it's like explained away as it's not explained away, but it's explained as, well, he died of the anthrax from touching a diseased animal, and which was set up previously because he was given the the raw hide from the kid. And so it's like, oh, okay. So then it all ties together well. And then at the very end, where the kid smiles because he bumped off Cumberbatch, it's like, right, yes, it all fits. So if you don't have that, if you didn't previously set that up, and you don't kill off Cumberbatch, you're like searching for a sort of ending where you have like this homoerotic mentorship going on, where you know what I mean? Like you're searching for some sort of conclusion to all of this.
Yeah, you have that going on, then you have the unresolved tension between Kirsten Dunst's character and Cumberbatch's character too.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So
yeah, I agree with that.
So yeah, so at that point you would be looking for any kind of resolution. And so if you read the situation between the kid and Cumberbatch as sort of like this actual genuine bonding, and
which I think it was still.
Well, then I don't think that it would have been so easy for him to bump him off.
I don't think it was easy. See, I view Cumberbatch as like an older version of the kid, because we learned that he went to a prestigious school and he wanted to become a doctor, but he gave that all up to like be a cattle rancher, and he was like under the wing of this Bronco Henry that he had the relationship with.
I couldn't take this seriously.
Are you kidding? Oh, seriously?
No, the name Bronco Henry.
No, it was terrific. I thought it was quite moving every time he brought him up, and you can just see.
I laughed every time.
Okay, well,
he would bring him up. He would bring him up every 2 minutes. Bronco Henry said this
because he's completely stuck in a mind, in like a frame of mind, and he can't move on from him.
They didn't need to name him Bronco Henry.
Christ.
Hi, my name's Colt McTavish. Like, what the fuck?
And here I thought we were taking this seriously.
No, but like, come on, that's like that really is like a porno name.
No, it's like a an old Western like, cowboy name. It's like
next up on the stage, here's Bronco Henry. Like, saddle up.
No, but so before that, I'm just gonna move on. But what I was getting at was I feel like Cumberbatch's character is like an older version of Peter in a way, and he's like, by taking him under his wing, he's like trying to move Peter away from
under his hoof. I'm sorry.
Sure. He's like trying to take Peter away from like his interests, right? And just like living life the way he wants to, as like an intellectual and like somebody who has these interests. And even if society doesn't really like accept the way he, like his behavior or what he likes or, how he conducts himself, like, cause like, look what happened to Cumberbatch's character, right? Like he just like completely immersed himself in this like cattle rancher lifestyle, and he like lost himself in it. And so like by Peter killing him off, on the one hand, yeah, it's like protecting his mother, right? Because her mother is like spiraling out of control because of her like resentment of this guy and like can't live with him. But on the other hand, it's like it's almost like casting out like the this alternate version of who he could grow up to be, which wouldn't have been his true self, right? He would have been like taking on a different persona just to fit in society. So that's why the ending worked for me ultimately, because it's not just killing off the Cumberbatch character, it's like almost like killing off like the pressure of like conforming, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Yeah. I didn't really like what was Jesse Plemons doing during any of this?
Making deals, working the cattle ranch. He was, he's like the businessman side of it. He's like the business side of things, right? And he's also just trying to like live out his days with his wife, just like.
But he doesn't see that his wife is like keeling over and shit, like constantly, and like there are bottles in the bed and like.
It seems like his answer to everything was kind of just like pretend it's not a problem, just kind of like gloss over the real issues. Like the party that he threw for like the governor and like his wife and then his own parents, he was just like trying to pretend that he's living this life that he really isn't,
Yeah.
Like just trying to like put like a glow over everything and just like pretend everything's fine. So he's kind of like living in his own world essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought, worked for that character. Like he, wasn't much of a factor in the second half of the film because like the focus wasn't on him anyway. So, but yeah, it's like He's just kind of like, ignoring all the problems around him for sure.
Did Cumberbatch take the mud bath before or after he was told that he has to bathe?
Yeah, I can't remember the sequence of events there.
Because I think it was before.
I think it was
and then
before
he was told
too.
that he was told he smells like shit. Mm-hmm. And then he said, "Fuck you, I'm not taking a bath." But then he does take a bath after he has his fun time in the woods.
Yes.
Which was a whole scene. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if anybody wanted to see Cumberbatch Shaft, this is the ticket. This is the one you want to see.
Well, the Netflix rating pop-up thing that comes, it did say full nudity, so
it did.
Yeah, you don't know where it's coming from, but
no, you don't. Yeah, it was unexpected. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm just trying not to say the name Bronco Henry again.
Like I couldn't take it every 2 minutes. You know, that was Bronco Henry's saddle. You know, Bronco Henry told him.
It's just it's so sad because of how like wrapped up in that world that he is. You know, he just like can't escape it. It was quite affecting for me. It really was.
You know what we were doing 25 years ago? We were out here with Bronco Henry. We were to Bronco Henry. Everybody, Bronco Henry. Every 2 minutes, man. Okay, and was it my imagination, or was it after the whole like reveal how basically Cumberbatch's character was gay? Mm-hmm. Did things just like get really, really homoerotic and phallic? Like,
oh, you mean when he takes that like giant steak and like and just
just like thrusting it into
the ground while staring at Peter?
Yeah, and then like the kid is like rubbing the thing on the saddle.
No, yeah, it totally did, and that's all intentional, you know, because you have these two characters that are out there alone and stuff.
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden, all the cowhands, they were like all shirtless, like rolling around in the dirt. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
What happened? I was like, really? But like, there's a purpose to it, you know.
Totally.
Like, this isn't like I don't know what I was going to compare it to, but it's not like I guess I don't really have a basis to compare it to. But like,
no,
it's
because
not
you
like,
haven't seen any
right?
gay
No, exactly
movies.
right. You know, I don't really. It's the gayest movie I've ever seen. Like, but it's all character driven. It's not, you know, I guess gratuitous, but like, it wouldn't be anyway. It wouldn't be gratuitous, but like,
yeah, no, it is.
You know
it is all
though,
character
right?
driven. It's all purposeful. I mean, Jane Campion is like, you know, the word auteur gets thrown around a lot, but she is like the definition of that. I mean, yeah, I'm just like in awe of her work. Like the way that she is able to blend like really interesting like psychological dynamics between characters, and then like also have like this like it is almost like a thriller in some ways, because like there's so much like tension and suspense, even
oh yeah,
you know,
it's so tense. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like all that tension and stuff is like stuff that's like unspoken too. It's like all it's like all subtext, you know, and it's all handled so brilliantly, I think.
Well, I think parts of it, like the kid is framed almost like what's his face from Psycho, you know? Where he's like this awkward kind of kid. You can't really get a vibe on him. And then he's like killing rabbits and shit, you know. Mm-hmm. And he's got like this weird relationship with his mom.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I did not think of that. Yeah, I mean, especially when you see the ending, like it's when you get to the ending.
Yes. Yeah, you don't really know what his thing. Like he's sticking his hands in dead cows, you know. Like you can't really get a read on him and that kind of thing. And it was also like I didn't really understand like his relationship with his mom at parts, because like sometimes he called her mom and sometimes he called her Rose, which was weird, especially for the time period. Like, and I was like, okay, is he adopted, or like, you know, is he like some kind of orphan kid or something? Like I had to get a handle on that.
When the two characters were first introduced, I assumed like brother and sister actually.
Yeah. Like I didn't know like their age difference, because Kirsten Dunst could play like, you know, a wide range of ages even now. So yeah, it was like you had to kind of get a handle on that. So like it's really easy to view this as a thriller, especially if you're like narrowing in on the kid. And like yeah, like whenever like it's, I was gonna call him Bronco Henry. Jesus Christ, Cumberbatch and the kid are like going out on their own to do whatever the hell, and like, you know, Kirsten Dunst's character is like freaking out over it, And so like then it gives like you that tension, like, oh God, what's gonna happen on the like this trip they're doing or whatever, you know? Because like she has that paranoia, but then it's like, well, are you supposed to have that paranoia now that like something's gonna happen?
Right. Right. Honestly, in that moment, I was more concerned about her. Because like because like you can see her spiraling. Because there's like a shift between the two halves of this movie, right? Where it's like the first half is framed as like, you know, where Cumberbatch is the one who's like isolated himself and is like really causing problems, and then like the second half he's bonding with this kid, and she's like you know, turned to the bottle, and she's the one that's now like isolated and sort of like spiraling out of control. What did you make of her character overall though? Like I was sort of struggling, especially in the second half, to kind of like figure out exactly what was affecting her and causing her to sort of like lose control. Like obviously she's living in this sort of hostile situation, this like passive aggressive like hostility when it comes to Cumberbatch. But it's like, was that the only thing that was causing her to like drink?
So
and
I
lose
guess
it?
that was like the beginning of it, right?
Right.
And then I guess it's sort of turned into addiction and dependency on the alcohol. But then I think more of it was the fact that she felt that her son was being taken away, which was sort of the case. Like that was basically his stated goal, was like, yeah, your mother's a crazy alcoholic, and so you shouldn't be dealing with that. And so like she's going to put you on a bad path, and she's making you, you know, effeminate or whatever. Like, you know, like that's basically what he was telling him. And then she even says like, oh yeah, you're spending a lot of time with, what was his name? Oh, Phil. Right. And yeah. And he's like, yeah, you know, whatever. So I think that was more of her concern in the second half.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so, and it does, because like that's what we're seeing play out. And I couldn't imagine what else it would be for her. And it got to the point where she was just a full blown alcoholic.
Yes.
So like it wasn't like she could just, you know, just suddenly stop.
Yeah, like snap out of it. That's not how addiction works. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I guess like at the end of the movie she kind of did. But
well, I guess the assumption there is that the thing that was preventing her from even attempting to recover was removed from the scenario.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that does make a lot of sense.
What was the like at the funeral scene? What was the mother handing her? Because it seemed like just a handful of jewels.
Yeah, you know, I didn't get if that was like referencing something from earlier on. I must have missed it.
I think that they wanted a close-up of her hands to show that her hands weren't shaking anymore from like alcohol.
Okay.
But I didn't understand the significance of like just a handful of jewelry.
No, neither did I. I mean, like, as far as the two characters go, like, she's now like accepted into the family, which is something, right? Because there was like a coldness to their interactions earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't understand the jewelry. Like, I'm assuming we missed something because like everything is so purposeful, you know? I'm just assuming we must have missed something. But if it's both of us, I'm not so sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think the close up was for the show, like her hands weren't shaking anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what because like you could have just had like a handshake, like, so I don't know what the like the passing of whatever was supposed to be. But yeah.
Yeah, so did you have anything more to add aside from any Bronco Henry?
No, I don't think so. I do think it's funny. So like this movie hinged on anthrax, which stay tuned because anthrax will be coming up later in the show.
Oh, terrific.
So, which I did not plan on, but
that's just the world we live in.
There's no such thing as coincidence. So, yeah. Do we have next year's movie?
Yes, I was thinking for next week we could check out The Last Duel from Ridley Scott.
Okay.
Because that's on VOD now. So
yeah, that sounds good.
And we might have to acknowledge some of the stuff that he's been saying during his press tour for the movie as well.
Oh God.
We can get into that, but yeah, like I'm not the biggest Ridley Scott fan in the world, but I have heard a lot of great things about this one, so I'm interested to check it out.
Yeah, I watched Raised by Wolves, which I think he EP'd and directed
Like the first couple,
beginning,
right? Yeah.
the beginning few episodes. So yeah, and I enjoyed Prometheus.
Haven't seen it.
I know people.
That one's divisive, isn't it?
Prometheus. What's that?
It's like divisive, isn't it? I think a lot of people.
Yeah.
Is that like is that related to the Alien franchise?
It's supposed to be like a super prequel to Aliens.
Okay.
Or like Alien, like the whole franchise. But like whenever I saw it and I didn't know any of that, so I just watched it as a movie and I enjoyed it. So
okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is only one of 2 Ridley Scott directed movies that came out in the past few months. The other one is House of Gucci, which is I think still only in theaters.
He directed House of Gucci?
He did, yeah.
Okay. Huh.
Which I honestly don't know if I have a ton of interest in, but I do want to see it for the Lady Gaga performance. Because people...
You don't want to see it for the Jared Leto performance?
No. Okay, well, maybe just to make fun of it, because I've heard some things about that. Yeah. Yeah, so we might have to check that one out later on. But for next week, The Last Duel, we won't be watching it on our smartphones, though. So he can rest easy knowing that.
God, I should get that David Lynch sound drop for the board.
Which one?
The one where it's like, don't watch it on your fucking phone.
Oh, yeah, that would be appropriate. Those damn millennials.
At least the David Lynch one is from like 2007 when the iPhone was new. He was ahead of the curve.
Now I'm going to watch The Last Duel on my iPod video.
There you go. Yeah. I still have mine somewhere.
Nice.
I watched The Office on that thing. All right. Do we want to do our albums of the year?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this.
Yeah. How do we want to proceed? Should we like exchange?
Yeah, I was thinking we could alternate. Like I would do number 10 and you could do number 10.
Okay.
Because we both have top 10 lists, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then like, if copyright weren't a problem, it would have been really.
I would.
Yeah, it would have been really cool to announce an album, like to talk about an album, and then like play a clip of something from it. But we can't do that. So
no, unfortunately not.
But we can have like a playlist that like accompanies this episode.
Yes, we could do that. And I see you have some honorable mentions here. So do I. Mine is extensive, actually.
Honestly, like that was just the tip of the iceberg for me. Like I could just go on and on because I think it's been like, I mean, it always is, but it's been an incredible year for music. So yeah, it was tough coming up with just 10. Yeah,
because like for my honorable mentions, I also did like, if somebody released an EP, I didn't consider that for the albums.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I put that as an honorable mention. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of honorable mentions.
There's a lot of good EPs this year.
Yes.
All right, so should we get into the proper lists?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start with my number 10. My number 10 is Color Grade by Tirza, which really the one album that I think is really gonna depend on like your taste. I think because I would describe it as experimental R&B, but it's really like verging on like avant-garde in a lot of ways. It's really like it just creates this soundscape throughout that is so like unique, and I haven't really heard anything quite like it, like musically. Even Tirza's previous album is quite different from this. But I love it though. I think it's great. I think it's definitely worth checking out. I don't guarantee that you'll like it, but it's like it's definitely a very specific sound, very specific like concept that she has going here, but it's really, really good, I think. So yeah, that's Color Grade by Tirza. I'm gonna try to keep it short with these and not like ramble too much like I'm already starting to do. So I'm gonna ask what your number 10 is then.
Yeah, my number 10, I got Cool from Colleen Green. I love this one. She like every few years she'll just come out with an album that is like just funny and catchy, and I just play it over and over and over again. And yeah, she did it again with Cool, and it's I don't know, I just love it a lot.
Her live performance is so great because it's just her by herself with a guitar and like a foot pedal that like with looping tracks. And like she just like wears sunglasses indoors, and she's just like badass, and it's great.
Yeah, it's so good. So yeah, if you're into like, I don't know, like slowed down Riot Girl, punk, like
with a lot of like self-loathing and like making like self deprecation,
Yeah.
Yeah, really great album. I like it a lot. Yeah, so my number 9 is Harmony Woods, Graceful Rage.
So good.
Yeah. Did we see, was that the same show with Colleen Green? I can't remember because we saw Harmony Woods at the same event. I know they were both at the Asbury Park Brewery, but I forget if it was the same bill that they were on.
No, we saw Harmony Woods open for The World Is.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We suspected that The World Is was like, they were all like high, right? For that one?
They were so fucking high.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were blasted. They were on another dimension.
Didn't they put something out this year?
We'll get to it.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, cool. But yeah, Harmony Woods, fantastic, like singer-songwriter. Her latest album, Graceful Rage, was produced by Bartees Strange, who's another favorite of mine. Yeah, this is terrific. Like, there's just like so much catharsis in this one. There's just like a lot of like Graceful Rage is such an appropriate title because there's just like so much like controlled emotion, you know, throughout the whole thing. Like, there's even one track later on that's just like a straight up like punk banger that's just so good. Yeah, I love it a lot. It's really good.
Yeah, I have it a little higher on my list, so we won't have to go over it extensively again. But yeah,
so what number is it for you?
It's easy. 1, 2, 3, 5.
5. Okay. Yeah, for me, like a lot, I did top because I feel like it's more interesting to rank them, but like a lot of these are pretty interchangeable for me.
Yeah, for me too. Yeah.
So what is your number 9?
So my number 9 is Illusory Walls from The World Is a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die.
Here we go.
Yeah, they're such a strange one because whenever they just like suddenly put out a new album, you really have no idea what the hell it's going to be. If it's going to be like if they just decide to put out an entire spoken word album that you can't like really listen to, or if it's going to be like, you know, something solid that you can maybe listen to a couple times, or if it's going to be something like amazing like Harmlessness. And Illusory Walls is their best fucking album.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and it's probably not even close.
Wow.
Like just the amount of energy that it has, and the emotion that it is so far and away. It's like it blends, like prog rock with their emo background, without being like overwrought and like overdone. It's really remarkable. Because like I sort of fell off of their whole thing after Harmlessness, which was really good. But like I couldn't like get into like their same like hook because they like it felt like they were too experimental. Like they just kind of kept like fucking around. But then they had this in their back pocket. So yeah, it's so fucking good.
I think I ignored this release because of like the stuff you mentioned. Like I just really wasn't sure about them anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that was the thing with them. So
I'm gonna have to check this out like immediately.
It's so good. It's so good. But they, you know, it's over an hour long. They have 2 tracks that are over 12 minutes long each. So like it's not like the easiest listen, but like it's really, really good. So yeah, that's my number 9.
Awesome. That's surprising. That's great to hear. Yeah. So my number 8 is Lately I Feel Everything by Willow, aka Willow Smith. Yeah, this album rules. It's there's been like a resurgence of like 2000s era pop punk.
Yeah.
I feel like Paramore is more popular than they've ever been. We obviously like with Olivia Rodrigo, we had a lot of that influence. And I just don't think anybody's doing it better right now than Willow is. Like this album is just like front to back, so much fun. Yeah, like give me any kind of like 2000s era punk and I'm just down for it. So
sure, yeah.
So what's your number 8?
I got Caro Caro Bonito. They came out with a little album called Civilization this year. And it is, well, it's more Caro Caro Bonito, but it feels maybe more focused in a way that some of their other stuff hasn't. Where I never know what their deal is. Like I'm not like deep into the Caro Caro Bonito. Like I kind of like got into them recently, so maybe it's a concept album. I don't know, but it's got like this sort of like jungle background theming to it, and you know there are all kinds of lyrics about like expeditions in rivers and all kinds of shit like that. You know, like you feel like you're like this explorer or something. Like it could, if Tomb Raider wasn't such a serious franchise, you know, like this could be the soundtrack to it. it's just like fun and like, well, I mean, everything they do is experimental, but just like the bizarre synth sounds they're making, where they just like it's all noise, but it's not like noise rock, if you know what I mean. Like they're just kind of making noises, and it works and it's fun. So yeah, I've been listening to that a ton lately.
Yeah, they've really they change up their sound quite a bit too, because like their older stuff is like straight up super catchy pop, and then their album before this one is more of like a punk album, which was pretty surprising, and I loved it a lot.
Yeah.
And then this sounds like something different entirely, which I haven't gotten around to this yet, but yeah, I definitely should.
Yeah, it's kind of like if Phil Collins like took acid and like got lost in a jungle.
Okay. Which I'm down for that. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my number 7 is this small indie artist named Billie Eilish.
Haven't heard of him.
Yeah, just like makes like this bedroom pop, very under the radar. Really underappreciated. Yeah, Happier Than Ever. Her second album came out this summer. It's interesting because her debut album, the ideal setting for me, like listening to that, was like blasting it in the car with the windows down, if you know what I mean. Like it's got that type of like energy to it, and that's really the last place I would want to listen to Happier Than Ever.
Yeah.
This is like such a, because I think it actually might be a better album than her debut as well. Like I don't mean that in a bad way at all. It's, you know, if you think of Billie Eilish as like a top 40 pop star because she is essentially, then this album is like almost radical because it's so minimalist and so like sparse and just like so like personal and like there are songs that have like really cool beats and like the production is just incredible. But like so much of it is just like so restrained, and you know, for someone who is like on top of the world basically and everybody's looking forward to this album, to just come out with something where it's like the first track, she has a lyric in it where it's like the thing I used to love is now just what keeps me employed, right? And so it's like, you know, any expectation you had for this album is kind of like turned on its head, and you're given something that's like such an insight into like her struggles and her mindset and everything she's facing with like being like one of the most famous people in the world as a teenager. I mean, when you combine this with the documentary that came out this year, The World is a Little Blurry, I believe is the title of it, the Billie Eilish documentary. There's just like so much laid bare, you know, like it's both pieces of art are just like so personal and so candid. And I really applaud her for that. Like I love it.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I have not listened to it nearly as much as I listened to her first album, and I came to her first album so goddamn late. But it didn't draw me the same way. But when I listened to it, I was like, wow, this is fucking phenomenal. But I still don't have that attachment to it. Maybe not yet. But yeah, I'm not sure what, you know, my deal with it is.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't listened to it as much either, because I think it requires your attention more. It's really not. It's not the thing that you just put on in the background in the way that her first album was. You know, it like demands you to listen more. I think, not to sound like to sound pretentious about it, but
no, but I know what you mean.
But yeah, I do think it's her best work yet. It's terrific, and Phineas's production is just unreal. So yeah, what's your number 7?
Yeah, I think, well, we've mentioned this album before, and I think you have this a little later, but Snail Mail's Valentine. I play this album so much. Like, I listened to it twice yesterday. Like, like I play it so much. It's just so good, and is such a step up from her debut, and her debut was fucking stellar. There's, like, so much you could say about it. Like, there's so many, like Forever is like such an amazing track. Madonna, like, oh my god, like Ben Franklin, like it's such a good album. Like and even like listening to it now and knowing the fact that she needs to have like vocal surgery,
which she did have, and it was according to her Instagram, it was successful.
It's good to hear, but like now I'm like listening and like I almost hear like her like vocal cords straining, and it's like, you know, Jesus.
Yeah.
And it sort of gives it like a whole new, I don't know, dimension for me. And maybe that's just me, like, you know, like reading in and listening into it too much, but like because like her voice didn't sound this way previously.
Yeah,
right?
she's mentioned in interviews, even aside from the vocal cord issues, her voice just got deeper out of nowhere between her first album and this one. And so she sort of had to like figure out how to approach that, like, you know, like sonically, like how to perform that way, you know?
Yeah. And on the recording, she figured that the fuck out.
Oh
Because,
yeah.
It sounds amazing.
Spoiler alert. Oh no, keep going. Sorry.
But yeah, like on like the closing song, Mia is like, she just fucking brings it. I'll just keep gushing about each individual song. So yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say spoiler alert. This is my number one. Yeah, it's my number one on the year. I might be a little bit biased because Lush, her debut, has become one of my favorite albums ever. I think I've listened to it more than anything else in the past 2 years. This one just hits incredibly hard, like harder than anything else I've listened to this year. The way that she's able to like both lyrically and just like vocally, the emotion in every single track, like it's hard for me to even describe just like how much like raw emotion is in this. You know, like I could start quoting lyrics. I'm not going to do that, but but yeah, I mean, everything you said I agree with. It's incredible. She's one of the best songwriters out there. Yeah,
I can't wait for that show. Like the show we were gonna go to got delayed because of, you know, she had to have surgery, but like I can't wait to see these songs. So yeah.
So my number 6 is "We're All Alone in This Together" by Dave, who is a British rapper who I discovered for the first time this year. This is
not the FX Dave.
It's so funny. I knew you were gonna say that. No, this is somebody completely different. Yeah, there's the FX show Dave about Lil Dicky.
Okay.
No, this is completely unrelated.
Sure.
But yeah, no, this is a phenomenal album. Dave is a tremendous rapper. Like he covers so much in this, like everything from like personal struggles to relationship issues to like broader societal issues like oppression and like human rights in the UK and just like all sorts of stuff. Like it's masterful. It's terrific. I'd heard a lot of great things about his previous album, Psychodrama, but I checked this one out first, and I every time I go to listen to him, this album is so good that I haven't even like touched Psychodrama yet because I just keep listening to this one. So yeah, I couldn't recommend him highly enough. What's your number 6?
I got Slow Thrust, Parallel Timeline.
So good.
I had no idea this was coming out, and then it came out.
Yeah, I didn't know until the day it released. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fucking amazing.
They don't miss.
They don't. They really don't. They're just so good. The biggest, and I said this like whenever we saw them, like they just don't give a fuck. They'll just do whatever, and it pretty much always fucking works.
Yeah.
And their lyrics are just like so darkly comedic, and then they'll just like say something that sounds crazy, and then like it's in your head and you think about it and you're like, oh my god, that's genius. And then while you're thinking about it, they're already just like jamming into like, you know, some ridiculous riff while you're still thinking about that lyric. Yeah, it's just so much fucking fun. And this might be their strongest album.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I think I like their previous one a little bit more, but it's up there for sure.
I have to be in the right headspace for that one. But yeah, it's the Pact is it's really good. But this one I can just like keep throwing it on like over and over. So yeah, it's Parallel Timeline from Slow Thrust.
Yeah, terrific.
They're just so good.
That should be one of my notable mentions for sure.
Yeah.
But there's like stuff I forget about. Like I listened to the Lucy Dacus album earlier this morning, and I'm like, how did I not?
Yeah.
Where did this?
I had to go through like my albums and like look at the dates, like in order to see if like I was missing something or not. That's why my honorable mentions are like enormous.
Yeah, well, I screwed myself up a little bit because I switched streaming services in the middle of the year.
Right.
So there was some stuff from the beginning of the year that kind of got lost for me, and then I had to remember, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was terrific, and I, you know. But yeah, so my number 5 is History of a Feeling by Maddie Diaz. This is just a stunning singer-songwriter album. Just she's someone who her lyrics come through with like so much clarity. And it's essentially like a breakup album, but it's just there's so much like purpose behind it, and like you know exactly how she's feeling and exactly like where her mind is at all times, and it just like comes through so clearly, and it's so brilliantly written. I definitely recommend this one if you like indie folk and like singer-songwriters. This is one of the best ones that I heard all year.
Nice.
So you're number 5?
Yeah, I got you may have forgotten, because I kind of did. There's a new Tiger's Jaw album this year.
Yeah.
So it's Tiger's Jaw, I Won't Care How You Remember Me. Yeah, I don't know how I forgot, because I listened to it a ton when it came out. And it's so fucking good. So yeah, like it's more Tiger's Jaw.
I think I take them for granted.
I know, right? And we were waiting so long for this album too, because it had been 4 years. It had been 4 years since the last album. So yeah, everybody should be listening to Tiger's Jaw, and this album is fantastic.
They also
like Lemon Mouth is so good. Body Language.
Yeah, they released it before like vaccines and stuff. So because this was like back in like February, I think. And for their album release, they had on YouTube like they played the entire thing front to back.
Yeah, which was really good. It was a really good performance. Yeah, because they haven't been able to tour to support this yet. I don't think.
I think they played just a handful of shows, but not like a full blown tour, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah. So yeah, I think a lot of people have forgotten this album. Because I am one of them, so I made sure to get it on my list because it's fucking Tiger's Jaw. Come on.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
Great stuff. My number 4 is Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler, the Creator.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like there are some artists where you listen to their new stuff and it's like they've kind of like just did the same thing they were doing before. You know, they kind of recycle material. You can never accuse Tyler, the Creator, of doing that. Just like endless ambition and like inspiration coming from this guy. Like this is just like a straight up rap album, whereas he was like doing like a mix of like R&B and hip hop and like experimental stuff before. But this is like Tyler the MC. Like it's just front to back, just like so good. Like the energy, the guest appearances on this, just everything. Like it's so much fun to listen to. Like I've had it on repeat like since it came out. Like it's just so good.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm at a point on the list now where like 4 to 1 are like very, very interchangeable. Like I could have easily like swapped any of these anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
So what's your number 4?
I got Harmony Woods, Graceful Rage. So
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
But yeah. So very good.
Yeah. My number 3 is, and I listened to this just like yesterday, and I'm like, oh no, this is number 1. You know, it's Jubilee by Japanese Breakfast. Nobody's like who's had a bigger year than Michelle Zauner. I mean, she has this album, she has a memoir, a best-selling memoir, a movie deal from that best-selling memoir, a video game soundtrack, a terrific tour somehow. In the middle of all that,
a completed tour with no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, like I'm assuming this is still somewhere on your list to come, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think it's actually next, so we can just get that out of the way. Yeah, it's
because you mentioned
so
in the same way, like I was talking about the Billie Eilish album and the way that it kind of works in tandem with the documentary that came out. Like you can combine this with her memoir and get a real, just like such a full picture of like what she is writing about, you know?
Oh, completely. Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like it's not, like needed background material to appreciate Jubilee. Like
no, not at all.
It completely stands on its own as like this tremendously both emotive and like joyous album. But yeah, like if you know her sort of background, like coming to terms with the loss of her mom, and sort of the background on her previous albums, and you come to appreciate how she is coming out with this sort of joyous release now, and then now all of a sudden she's on top of the world after all this agony and heartbreak. It's really remarkable to see like the journey of one person sort of both overcoming that and just like putting in all of this hard work and seeing it pay off. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, definitely. The thing that stuck with me from one of her interviews from around the time of release for this album was she was talking about how like she thinks about her discography as a whole and like where each album fits within that, and to like have the third album be like this statement, right? Like this statement and this like energetic and like fun work, which definitely describes this, even though like the topics that she's writing about are quite heavy and serious, but the music itself is just some of the like most fun and catchy and like detailed stuff that I've heard all year. Like the musically, this album blows my mind. It's just
it's so fucking layered. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
like,
incredible.
Yeah, like I said this after the show. It's like the people that she has on stage with her are just like musicians to like the highest degree. They are like so fucking talented. Yeah, and yeah, they know what they're doing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm very happy that we were able to see her in the midst of all this stuff going on, that we were able to go to that show because it was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so you said that was your number 2?
That was my number 4. I think I screwed up and I have 11 on here.
Oh.
Which is why my numbers are off.
That's all right. Nobody's keeping score. But what was next up on the list for you?
After Japanese Breakfast, I have the Sonderbombs, Clothbound. This is another one that came out towards the beginning of the year. And whenever it came out, it was like all I was listening to. It is a tremendous album. And it would just be in my head over and over, so I just had to keep playing it. Yeah, and I feel like nobody knows who they are, and like Tidal sure as shit doesn't know who they are, because I'll play this album and it's like, oh yeah, we can't find anything related to this, so we're not going to play anything else after the album ends.
Oh no.
So it's like, yeah, so people should be listening to the Sonderbombs because this album is tremendous.
Yeah, I have this as one of my notable mentions. I think it's terrific. I think maybe recency bias has sort of took them out of my top 10 because it did come so early in the year. But yeah, that was a surprise for me because I hadn't heard of them prior to like reading about, on the day of their album release.
Right. Yeah.
And then checking them out based on like who produced. Like I think they have the same producer who did like Hop Along, one of their albums.
I think so, yeah.
So I checked them out just on that basis, and yeah, I was blown away. They're terrific.
Yeah, like the vocal range, and then like the sort of like varied instrumentation, like to go from like emo to sort of harder to yeah, it's very, very good, and more people need to listen to them.
Definitely. So my number 2, and I struggled where to put this one. I thought of leaving it off the list entirely because I thought maybe it doesn't fit because it's technically a re-recording. Well, 2 re-recordings. I've cheated here and I've named 2 albums in one spot.
Well, I mean, that's okay. I did 11, so
there we go. So it evens out. So this is Red and Fearless, Taylor's versions of Taylor Swift's 2 re-recordings that she released this year. If you take the total runtime of both these albums, almost 4 hours, I think, of music that she released.
Yeah. Hey, that's like one Marvel movie.
There we go. Yeah. God, like, what is there even left to say that hasn't already been said about Taylor Swift? But, yeah, I mean, I decided to include these because, like, listening to Red now this year, because I can remember my freshman year of college was when this album first came out, and I remember, like, being in the dorms and hearing people, like, blasting this, and even even in some cases, like, singing along to it, and then, like, I go on, like, social media now, and I see the same exact thing. So it's, like, her music is timeless. It's her impact is like spanning multiple generations now at this point. These re-recordings are just stunning. Like it's the integrity of like the originals are still intact, but she's brought elements to it of like how she's like her progression from then to now. You can hear it in these re-recordings. So it's like they're faithful. Nice. But like at the same time, they've progressed, if that makes sense. Yeah, like they're just like as a songwriter, she's kind of in a league of her own when it comes to like just the fact that the amount, like the sheer volume of music that she has come out with, especially in the last like 2.5. She's technically released 5 albums in the last like 2.5 years. which is just insane. And then the quality of all 5 of those, like she simply does not miss. Like it's really, she's operating on a level that I just like, she's unmatched. It's I don't know what to say. Like she's unbelievable. And she clearly has like, you know, resonated with so many people. Like, you know, I don't know if you're not listening to Taylor Swift by now, I don't necessarily think I can convince you to. It would be kind of weird if I could, honestly, but I would definitely urge you to take a look at these 2 re-recordings of Red and Fearless. Red in particular, I think, is her best album. And
yeah, at this point, I don't think you're talking to anybody else but me, because I think everybody else listens to Taylor Swift.
That's a good point. Yeah, so you specifically should give Red a listen, I think. So yeah, that's my list, because my number 1 is Snail Mail. So I do have some notable mentions, but your list isn't finished. You have at least a couple more, right?
No, I got 2 more.
2 more.
And they're kind of related. So my number 2 is Illuminati Hotties. Let me do one more.
So much
this
fun.
was the one we were waiting for.
Yes.
It's so good. It's so much fun. It does feel a little weird to, it's almost January to be listening to Pool Hopping. But I can't help it because it's too catchy.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
I know. Like you can go from like pool hopping to like just these like something that hits you to your core, like threatening each other regarding capitalism. Like, oh my God, just fuck me up. Just fuck me up. And then like some near country shit, you know? Like, yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, they got screwed over by the record label, and then they just got even better because of it. You know, like that last album has grown on me. The one that was like a big like fuck you to the label. And then this one is just like a blast. Like I need to hear this. I need to hear these songs live for sure.
Oh my God, yeah, that would be so much fucking fun. So yeah, everybody should be listening to Illuminati Hotties. And
should I get my cheerleading gear out for this number 1? Because I feel like I know what it is.
You should. Everybody should know what it is. I've talked about this album a lot. Yeah, it's Pom Pom Squad, Death of the Cheerleader. It's the album I've listened to the most this year. It's the album I'm going to keep listening to next year.
And that's really should be the metric, right? That should be how you figure out what the album of the year is for you.
Yeah. It is. It's like a perfect album. It is so complete in its vision and its its messaging and what it's attempting to do. And Pom Pom Squad is like the vision of the band is like so totally realized, and like this is the culmination of it. Like this is what they've been trying to do, and they fucking pull it off. And it's fucking stellar. Like just like going into like head cheerleader and then like closing with Be Good. Like it's just, yeah. And then like Red with Love is like song of the year for me. I just love this album so much. If there's a day that I don't listen to it, it's like an off day.
Oh wow.
Like, honestly.
Okay.
Like seriously, like this is I don't know the last time I liked an album this much. Yeah, it's that good for me. It's probably an all-timer like at this point.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then they also just put out a cover of Nada Surf's Popular, and they've recreated the original music video at like Bayonne High School in New Jersey.
Oh wow.
Like shot for shot remake of the video.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and that's also really good.
They're touring with them, right?
Yeah, they just wrapped up a tour with them. So yeah, they got some more stuff going on. I can't already wait for new material. Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do next. But in the meantime, I'm gonna be listening to this album again and again until that happens. So yeah. Do we want to do some honorable mentions?
I would like to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to start out with some?
Yeah, I could do some because I got a fucking ton here. Drug Church, they put out a couple of EPs. They put out Tawny and also A Million Miles of Fun. They've sort of expanded from being like sort of like your, pretty standard hardcore, like sludgy kind of thing, while still doing that, but then also being like, let's just throw some shoegaze in here too. Why not? So yeah, that's really exciting to see. I'm looking forward to a full length at some point, hopefully. What else? got Lucy Dacus, Home Video, Jillian Baker, Little Oblivions. Oh yeah, Mannequin Pussy also put out the Perfect EP this year. That's also very good.
We heard some of those tracks live. They're terrific.
Yes. Those are awesome. Remember Sports? They put out that LP.
Oh, that's
like
right. Oh my God, yeah, really good.
Yeah, that like I listened to that a lot when that came out, and then now it also flew like under the radar after everything else. Let's see, Rap Boys, Happy Birthday, Rap Boy.
I love that one.
Yeah, Potty Mouth put out a couple EPs.
Oh yeah,
singles, I guess.
they just they announced that they've broken up, which is really sad.
Oh really?
That was like
they just put those out.
That was like their farewell release.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that. Shit, damn.
Yeah, very very under the radar punk band.
Yeah. What else? Biaba Doobie put out their extended EP.
Oh man, that thing really took me by surprise because like it's so different from their debut album that came out pretty recently. I guess that was 2020.
Yeah, it was last year, I think.
And like this thing is just like it's so like I was so addicted to it for like a solid month. I was listening to it pretty much almost every day.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, they've blown up and deservedly so. They're huge. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Spanish Love Songs also put out an EP, Phantom Limb. Jeff Rosenstock, he like officially released like this compilation of things he put out. He called it 2020 Dump because it was originally available on his Bandcamp last year, but then it got like a streaming release last month. So I guess that's 2021. I put it here. I don't know. Dirty Nil put out Fuck Art. Torres, Thirstier. There was like so much.
I didn't know you liked Torres.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Claro.
Ooh, can we? So the Claro is interesting. So Immunity was probably my album of the year in like I guess 2019. I think that was her debut. And so this one, Sling, is her follow up, and it's produced by Jack Antonoff, which I have a conflicted relationship with Jack Antonoff's production because he works with like so many artists. He worked with Claro on this album. He worked with Lorde for her new album, Saint Vincent, I believe, this year as well. It's one of those things where it's like it's great that these artists have found a producer that they want to work with and that they work well with. But like I don't know if his production style is for me, which is fine because these artists aren't making music for me, of course. But like it's sort of like almost like his production is clashing with what I have come to like know and love about the artists he's working with. Like that said, though, I think the Claro album is stunning in a lot of ways. Like I think it's such a great like pivot, and I think a much needed one too, based on like interviews that I've read about like how she was feeling about like the trajectory of her music. And so like this feels like a very very like genuine and sincere and really like brilliantly like lyrically written album. It's just something about the like Antonoff of it all.
Sure. Yeah.
That's which is just maybe like a personal preference thing for me.
No, yeah, but I know what you mean.
Because like Claro, like that was one of my most anticipated albums this year, and it's something that I would have guessed would have ended up in my top 10. But I just haven't like connected with it in the same way that I did her previous one. But at the same time, like I really appreciate it. So I'm just conflicted. I don't know. Same thing with Lorde too. Like Lorde would be a notable mention for me. I think like I'm definitely not alone in being a bit underwhelmed or disappointed by this because like it had been like 3 or 4 years since her last album, which a lot of people consider like to be a masterpiece. And this one, and I should probably say this is one of my most listened to albums of the year, even though I was sort of underwhelmed by it. Because like even like disappointing Lorde is still better than most artists. But yes, again, something with Jack Antonoff's style it clashed with like what Lorde was doing in the past. So I don't know. I'm a bit conflicted there.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But did you have any more?
No. I think that's. Oh, how did I forget the Samia EP, Scout?
Oh yeah, the first track on that, I forget the title, is one of my favorite songs that came out this year.
Yeah, it's fucking stellar.
Yeah. Also a very good TikTok follow. Samia is as well.
Oh yeah.
Just like completely low effort like TikTok dances, and just like really really silly like nonsense stuff. She's very funny on there. But yeah, I had a couple that I want to mention. Turnstile. I don't know if you listened to this one.
Oh yeah. That's really good.
Yeah, it's like you have this hardcore punk band that has completely transcended that genre and are playing like Seth Meyers.
Yeah.
which is insane. Yeah, like they really play it like it's a hardcore punk album for sure, but at the same time, like it takes influences from so many other things, and it's just like so accessible.
Yeah, it's got the same like riffs and structure, but then it's got like just some of the edges like slightly sanded off in production. And then it's got like sort of hip hop infused influences. And it's really something.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. If it wasn't such a crazy year for music, this probably would have been on my top 10.
Yeah.
I also want to mention Sloppy Jane, whose debut came out on Phoebe Bridgers' her record label. So you know, anything that releases on that label is an automatic listen for me.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I kind of wasn't into it at first. This is something that I really won't be able to describe. It's just like you kind of have to listen to it. It really defies genre. It kind of defies like even like era. Like it could be made in the 60s. It could be made this year. It could be like it's very unique. It was recorded in a cave.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay.
It's kind of genius, but it took like a month of me like hesitantly coming back to it a few times to realize that it was genius. Like it definitely is it's an acquired taste, I'll say. It's very interesting. Sloppy Jane, a very good Twitter follow.
Okay.
Very funny on Twitter. But yeah, I would give it a shot. Like it might put you off, but you also might get something out of it. I don't know. It's very good, I think. Also Lil Nas X, another very under the radar artist.
Oh yeah.
No, I think Lil Nas X is like a genius as well. I think he's like, as like a pop superstar, he has crafted like a brand for himself and like markets himself in a way that's like so effective. And then like, you know, the messaging that he has and like everything that he stands for is great as well. And then
well, like how many people were convinced that was just like he was a one-hit wonder?
Oh,
you know?
Totally. Like the whole like hip hop, country infused hip hop thing. Like, because that's kind of what he was grouped into, right? With that mega hit that he had initially. But then he came out with this album, it's kind of hard to believe it's his debut album, but it is. Montero came out this year.
Best new artist.
Yeah, best new artist, yeah. And it's just like, it's hit after hit. Like, it's so good. Like, it's hip hop, it's pop, he's got a track with Elton John. Like, it's just like, there's so much going on in this. And
he's got that commercial with Elton John.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, it's like a Uber Eats or something.
Okay, cool, sure.
I've just seen it a lot. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a great album. It's so like varied and interesting, and just like his whole, like everything about him, like his persona, his brand, like his social media, his music, everything. It's just, I think he's a superstar. It's great stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that was about it. I'm trying to think. I talked about Lord, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I've been rambling on for long enough here. We can move on.
All right, cool. Yeah, that was it. It was a fucking crazy year for music. So much came out.
Yeah, I guess like last year, I think some artists maybe held off on releasing last year, either by choice or by necessity, you know, like an inability to, like releasing an album with an inability to tour is just brutal. Like, I don't know if the album title of the year for me was Men I Trust. Their latest is called Untourable Album. Which is so apt.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy year for sure.
Yeah, we'll make a Spotify playlist. I gotta dig up the fucking Spotify password to the It Doesn't Net Up account, and I'll put that either in the podcast description or you know, make a separate post, and so you can check out some stuff. So yeah, let's move into some It Doesn't Net Up minis here quickly. So Antarctica has got something to do with COVID. They make COVID there, or COVID exists there, or something. So this comes from a Twitter user. This is Francesco 40996115. And so you know they're an authority on something. And I actually just looked at their bio, and their bio is straight white male in all caps. Too many privileges for just one person. So you know this is going to be interesting. And so what they do is here they've compiled
Wait,
little graphics.
So I'm sorry to like derail this immediately, but
no, it's
is
fine.
that them like is that like a commentary on straight white men, or is that them declaring that they are a straight white male?
It's them declaring it.
Oh, okay.
It's them declaring it.
So they're saying that they have too many privileges.
Yes.
I mean, I guess at least they're self-aware. Like it's kind of weird.
But it's like they're saying that, oh yeah, look at me, I'm actually so privileged, but they don't believe that is the thing.
Oh, it's like sarcastic.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Well, that's stupid.
Of course it is. You know what else is stupid is what they fucking posted. So they've got a compiled graphic here, and it hasn't gotten crunchy yet, but I know the more times that it gets posted around Facebook, it'll just start getting crunchier and crunchier.
I'm sorry, what is this?
What is
this? How is crunchy used as to describe what? I don't understand.
Do you know, like, whenever there's like some shitty image that just keeps getting posted and screenshotted or whatever, and so it starts getting lower and lower res?
Does that I didn't know that happens.
Yeah, so it starts getting crunchy. The kids call it deep fried.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there you go. So we haven't gotten there yet. This one's fresh. And so this is an image that they've compiled together of supposedly different islands in Antarctica. So there's one, it says Coronation Island, and there's another one that says Delta Island, and there's another one that says Omicron Islands. And so they're like, what the hell is going on in Antarctica? And then there's another one that says Rothschild Island, and then there's one that says Rockefeller Plateau, and then there's one that says Deception Island.
Now, these aren't seasons of Survivor, right?
No, not yet at least.
Okay.
Not until Survivor Antarctica. So their point, without actually making it, is that there are islands in Antarctica that are named Delta and Omicron, and so this is somehow related to COVID.
Wait, but aren't Delta and Omicron like, what are they, like Greek names?
The Greek letters, yes.
So both these so both of these things are named after something else.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We solved it.
And the one that's coronation is because coronation is like a crowning. So it's crown. So they think that means it's coronation. It's the nation of Corona. This is just pure unfiltered stupidity. And so the replies are just straight unfiltered, like schizophrenia. Like not even like I wish this shit was ironic. I really do. Antarctica is the hidden location of Dark Fleet, the Nazi outpost of the Fourth Reich, where they escaped to post-World War II under the co-command of the Draco Reptilian Zeta Collective. There's a Stargate portal there. SG-1 and Haley, is that the comet? Probably the comet. I'm reading your tweets about this and I'm intrigued. How do you know all of this? Research Operation High Jump. Okay, and then I have to find the dude that posted the Okay, yeah, so then the flat earthers come in, okay? So then the flat earthers are saying, nope, Antarctica is actually just a fucking wall. And so then they're posting images of that. So they think it's Game of Thrones. This is an image that says Beyond the Ice Wall. And so it's literally just a wall of ice that surrounds our continents. And then outside of that, there are some sort of unknown continents. Then there's some kind of other wall, some kind of earthen wall. And then outside of that, there are more planets. And those are not planets, I'm sorry, continents. And those continents, some of them, one's labeled Atlantis, one's labeled Lemuria. So all because some dipshit posted Antarctic islands, one of which was named Delta.
I mean...
And Omicron.
Coronation.
What's going on?
I mean, I'm at a loss for words here. This is like next level stupidity.
Here's another one. Which is the highest continent above sea level? Antarctica is the highest continent on the Earth with an average elevation of 7,545 feet above sea level, the edge of the flat Earth. What does that mean? Why is that the conclusion?
How did you come across this? Like, how do you find these people? I don't understand.
It doesn't take a lot. All you have to do, like, this is sincere. All you have to do is look at a post from like any news outlet, okay? Like just go to CNN, even like the AV Club. And if you see somebody that is yelling at like the AV Club or CNN, you click on their profile and you could see the shit that they've retweeted. You will see pure unfiltered schizophrenia. And you click on that and you will just find wild shit. You'll find wild shit Oh my God, now they're posting Lambda Island. Lambda Island in the Antarctic. Lambda variant of COVID might be resistant to vaccines. Oh my God, you people.
I mean, there was a guy on Twitter who was like proud of himself for tweeting like back in the early summer. It's like, oh, I'm going to prepare for the Omicron variant, you know, because you know it's coming because it's named after something specific and like you can follow the you know,
the naming convention.
The naming convention there. So it's like, come on, just like a simple, I mean, I know we're talking about like insane people here, but like it's just a simple Google search is really all you need.
Is that why Trump ordered all those icebreakers? What, to destroy Antarctica? What is that going to do?
Oh, I thought they were bringing up Trump because of the big wall in Antarctica. Maybe he was responsible for building that wall.
Our non-human cousins definitely in Antarctica. All the fake dead are also beyond the ice wall. What the fuck are they talking about?
Oh no, that is Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Coronation of the Night King or whatever his name is.
Cabal leaders go to Antarctica to surrender to extraterrestrials in Earth Alliance. Yeah, man. 20 likes on that one.
So how long until somebody on like 4chan or whatever decides to travel to Antarctica and document their experience?
This one's got 16 likes. I do find it interesting. I believe something is kept hidden there. Yeah? Do you? Conspiracy realist, truth teller, freethinker, patriot, pure blood researcher. Cool.
Okay, the pure blood one creeps me out a bit.
Yeah. They have a Guy Fawkes mask painted in the American flag.
The Guy Fieri what?
The Guy Fawkes mask.
No, I don't know what that is.
The stupid anonymous mask.
You mean like from Mr. Robot?
Yeah, but from fucking V for Vendetta.
Oh, okay. This just reminded me, by the way, a couple weeks ago, we had that kind of incomprehensible Taylor Swift discussion.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the episode. And I went back and like listened to part of it because I'm like, oh, how bad is this? And I guess we played the clip of the song and you didn't take it out, but you like did like vocal distortion on it.
Yeah.
So it sounded like somebody doing like a ransom video. but singing
I had to pitch shift Taylor Swift, yeah.
But singing a Taylor Swift song, which was very, very, very creepy.
Well, because if I did it the other way, it sounded like the Chipmunks.
I'd almost prefer that, to be honest.
It was there's literally a setting in Audition. It says like summon the Dark Lord, and I was like, oh, let's see how that sounds like.
And you're like, oh, this is acceptable. Yeah. I'm gonna go with this one.
Okay. So yeah. Anyway, they think that COVID is being stored in Antarctica, and the elites are hanging out there for some reason. All because the islands are also named after the Greek alphabet.
That's really not the climate that I would go to hang out in if I was, like, rich.
No, but I guess because they also think that they're reptilians, so they have the cold blood, so they think it's fine.
Okay.
Even though that's also not how reptiles work, because if it did, then Antarctica would be full of reptiles.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe we just don't know it. Maybe they're hiding them.
They actually need the sun, like, a lot.
Says who?
That's true. They don't listen to the experts. All right, so this just came out yesterday, funnily enough. So there was a conspiracy conference, and a ton of the attendees are having COVID symptoms. And since they're, of course, QAnon conspiracy theorists, they don't believe in COVID. And so they think that they got poisoned with anthrax.
I mean, was there a lot of rawhide being passed around? Like, what's going on here?
So this took place in Dallas, of course, the weekend of December 10th, actually. And so there's this fella named Joel Altman, and he has a podcast called Conservative Daily. And on the podcast, he was seen coughing and sneezing. And so he claims that there's a 99.9% chance that it was anthrax.
And do we know the other 0.001? Did he say what that could be?
No, but maybe he's being charitable and giving that 0.01% chance to COVID.
Oh, to COVID, okay.
But yeah, he said that even though no one had tested positive for anthrax poisoning,
they got tested for anthrax.
And none of the other 3,500 attendees so far have reported suffering the effects of anthrax.
Oh, that's so funny that they actually went out of their way to get tested for anthrax instead of COVID. That's amazing.
He also claimed that he and up to a dozen other people who were in the green room at an event fell ill over the following days. So he and the people around him are having the same symptoms that are also the symptoms of COVID. But no, it's a 99.9% chance of anthrax. He said that he was sick, and claimed his symptoms were tempered because he was already taking the antibiotic doxycycline as a result of impaling his leg on an arrow in an accident in his brother's garage weeks previously.
Excuse me? Oh, man. So he took an arrow to the knee.
He took an arrow to the knee, yes.
Oh, boy.
What is your situation where you're just like, you have arrows just sticking out of things? Like, what?
Well, he was a real trooper, though, because he was able to go to the convention after suffering a serious injury there.
Jovan Pulitzer, an election conspiracist who was also at the conference, also apparently experienced more severe symptoms. Pulitzer, a failed inventor who once created a barcode scanner listed as one of the worst 50 inventions ever.
It's weird that they would name such a prestigious award after him. I don't know what he did to deserve that.
He was heavily involved in the bogus Arizona recount. And promoted the idea that ballot boxes had been flown into Arizona on election night from Asia to swing the vote in Biden's favor. Apparently, he's not been heard from in several days and reported severe complications, including body lesions and weeping skin.
Ooh.
Claims that these illnesses were due to an anthrax attack were shared and viewed hundreds of thousands of times on Telegram and other alt-tech platforms like Gab and Parler.
Is there any, do they have a theory on how the anthrax was, dispersed? Like, how did everybody come into contact with it? In that they believe? How do they think this happened? Because it's obviously COVID, but, in their mindset, how they think it happened.
After Altman made the claim about anthrax without providing a shred of evidence, the conspiracy was boosted by other election fraud conspiracists like former New Mexico State University professor David Clements and Overstock.com founder Patrick Burns. Bogus claim was also boosted by QAnon influencer turned congressional candidate Ron Watkins, who called for prayers for those affected.
It's not the type of boosting that they should be getting.
No. After Altman made his initial claim, other conspiracy-minded folk highlighted a video from the event that showed a fog machine operating during the conference, suggesting that this is how the anthrax was spread.
Okay, I see.
Ignoring the fact that no anthrax outbreak has been reported by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention or any other agency.
Yeah, but they can't be trusted.
They don't. I was gonna say they don't listen to the fucking CDC for anything. Clark, the organizer of the Reawaken event, which was the whole thing they were going to, was called the Reawaken event. Dismissed the claims as rumors. He told the far-right online talk show host Stu, I'm sorry, I gave him credit. His name is Stu, S-T-E-W, like the thing you eat, Stu Peters, that he is now part of... I'm sorry, Jesus Christ. He told Stu Peters that he is now... Jesus. There's too much stupidity going on here. He told talk show host Stu Peters that he is not part of the Illuminati, and that the fog machine in question was simply a fog machine.
I don't know if I believe that.
And nobody that was involved in the event has publicly entertained the idea that this could have been COVID-19.
Of course not.
And this came to us from Vice News.
Vice is really doing the heavy lifting when it comes to crazy far-right conspiracy theorists.
No, yeah, they get in there. Yeah. Just the facts that they immediately went to anthrax. It was an anthrax attack. Not even that they got a cold or a flu or whatever. It's nope, I have been attacked by anthrax.
Well, you said December 10th, right? I think Power the Dog came out the week before, so maybe they watched that and that was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah. I just think that's very funny that I put this in the doc yesterday before I'd seen the movie.
Yeah.
And then the movie hinges on anthrax poisoning. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's crazy out there. That's why I stay inside.
Yep. What are we thinking? Do we want to...
You want to call it for this year, or do you have more?
I don't know. I don't really want to talk about Louis C.K.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you had that there.
Yeah, I don't know if I even want to bother.
I mean, I'm a little bit curious because I haven't paid attention to any of that. But you don't have to get into it if you don't want to.
I put it in.
Okay. But yeah, cancel culture is...
No, it's not. All right. So Louis C.K., he's got a special coming out through his website directly. You got to pay him money to get the special. It's apparently the second special that he's released in 2 or 3 years. Who the fuck knew? So apparently on the previous special, he addressed his situation where he forced women to watch him masturbate while locking the door. which he just calls his quote unquote thing, not his dick. Like he's saying like that, like what he does, like he's just like considering it his kink or whatever.
It's like that's my thing. That's what I do.
Yeah. Like not, non-consensually forcing women to watch you masturbate while you lock the door.
It's almost like a personality quirk or something.
Right. Yeah. And he also like makes it seem like he like makes a joke about how even if you ask them and they say yes, you still shouldn't do it because they might change their mind or they might not actually mean yes. And it's like, okay, you're almost there. You've almost got it. Like you're actually putting the blame on them for not letting you do your creepy sex thing.
Yeah, it's like you go like 3/4 of the way to the point, but then you just completely turn around.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, of course they could fucking change their mind. Like, yeah. And also, I don't think all of them said yes.
No.
And also, there were power dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
And also, your fucking manager was running cover for you and threatening the women to not say anything. But I guess that doesn't make for a setup and punchline.
Right.
So, yeah, this is just rough.
Yeah, it's eye-opening in a way because it's like, so, Louis C.K., a lot of people liked his comedy for a long time, right?
I was one of them.
And me too,
yeah.
me too. And then, that story comes out and then some time passes and then he comes back and starts making comedy again. But there's a very drastic, at least I think there was, a tonal shift and like a shift in like his comedy and like, it's almost like his worldview has shifted. Or not even just that, but like almost like a mask has come off and he's like, okay, I don't have to pretend anymore and I can just like say what I actually think, and it turns out what he actually thinks is just like horrendous and really shitty. But it's like almost like he was performing, I mean obviously he's performing comedy, but like almost like his beliefs and like his public persona was a performance before the scandal, and then after the scandal happened he shrugs and he's like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna be my true self now, and we see the results of that.
Yeah. Before he would be like progressive and like talk about women's sexuality and gay rights, like in the early 2000s, and things like that.
But that
like
was
in
apparently all in
his
act.
specials. Yeah, like, and now he's just like, fuck it, and he claims that he lost like $25 million because of the scandal or whatever. It's like, okay, well, fuck you. Like, why should anybody care? Why? That's your own doing. Like, what? And it's like now you can be quote unquote open and like joke about what you did. Meanwhile, when it first came out, you were denying it. Mm-hmm. Like you were actually denying it. You like talked to the New York Times and denied it. And so now it's like, oh yeah, it's cool to joke about now, like whatever. And you're still misconstruing and, making it seem like, it's what I do. Like what? Mm-hmm. What?
Well, I guess because it kind of is, right? Because he's kind of just gotten away with it. He's still doing his thing.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, well, you traumatized women, you pushed them out of their career path, you got to take a break, essentially, and you get to continue on with your life. Cool. Good for you. What about them?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So now you can joke. I don't know if they can joke about it.
No, he still has the platform
maybe they can.
Where he can.
Right. Maybe they can joke about it with their friends, but they don't get to go up on stage and sell specials.
Yeah, they're not welcome in the Comedy Cellar or whatever it is whenever they want to show up.
Yeah, it's just so gross. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know if like I want this to be like the show where like it feels like I'm like, shame on you, man. But it's like
well, why not in this scenario? Because it's
I know
lousy. Like, this dude sucks, and there's really no way around it.
Yeah, like,
I'm sorry, we only like Dave Chappelle on this podcast. We only support Dave Chappelle
because it's just like,
which I should say in case anybody didn't hear that whole thing. We do not like Dave Chappelle. That was a reference to it. And if I have to point out the reference, then it's kind of stupid. So I should just stop. Keep what were we saying? Yeah.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, I was looking at because I was trying to catch up on the whole like circumstances of what he did. Because I thought this happened a lot sooner than it did. Like, this came out around 2017 or whatever.
Well, there was, and it's funny because, well, it's not funny, but I just say that, but
I know what you mean.
yeah, like for a number of years before the story like was made public, like I listened to other comedians like on their podcasts or talking or whatever, and they'd be like, oh yeah, like Louis C.K., like yeah, he's done some shit. Like it was like an openly like
it was this open secret
secret, for a long time.
Yeah, and so I was looking, and like the comedians that like defended him, and it's like Chappelle was like first in line.
Sure.
First in line. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense. It's just, and it's like, well, then people will say like, well, you know, he did his time, he was away, and it's like, but like,
what time did he do? Could he go to jail? No.
It's like, oh, no, but he couldn't do his thing for 2 years. So yeah, it seems like he could have. Mm-hmm. Seems like he could have.
Yeah. He had plenty of people that never wavered away from supporting him.
No.
For a second.
No. And
because he's part of a structure that they benefit from as well. So if he goes down, if that structure breaks, then they also are negatively affected.
No. And it's like, I don't even think he ever apologized. And it's not even that the public needs an apology. It's not that he needs to self-flagellate, or you know, like we don't need the spectacle of like a beheading or a punishment or whatever. It's just like you did something shitty, and it seems like you don't give a fuck that you did something shitty, and you're gonna pretend like it didn't happen. And in fact, you're gonna make really they're not even necessarily jokes. You're just kind of like giving a smarmy smile at the end.
Yeah, I remember his earliest stuff after the scandal, like comedy, quote unquote comedy, was just ranting, just like angry rants that really had no like punchline or anything. They were just like him using his platform to like say vile shit.
Yeah, I guess like I only watched the clip where he addresses this. Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna watch this fucking special, and I'm definitely not gonna pay to watch this.
Oh
special.
God,
Are you kidding me? But it seems like whatever material he has now is more structured than that shit.
Okay.
But he's also apparently doing the thing where like you have to seal your phone away in a magnetic box if you can attend one of his shows now. So he's doing that thing.
Oh boy. That's always a good sign.
Yeah, but what about free speech? What happened to that? What happened to that?
Yeah, isn't he part of the group of comedians that talk about like how you can't say anything anymore?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's like all of them now. Yeah,
and you're restricting people from like filming you, so you want oh boy, the hypocrisy is just overwhelming.
Yeah, it's funny because he used to have a bit about how like he didn't like take people's phones away, but he was just like, oh, you don't need that. You don't need to do that right now. Like you're at a thing, so like you should put it away, but like nobody's making you. And now he's literally like putting them in a magnetically sealed lockbox so the signal can't get out. Like it's fucking Fort Knox or some shit.
You don't want to end up in a lockbox with Louis C.K.
No, you don't. He's a big fan of locks. He's like fucking Matt Lauer, this dude. Like just absolutely vile. Yeah. I think Hulu sometimes still recommends that sitcom he had. It's like, why is that still up here?
Yeah, I'm really happy that Better Things was able to continue and thrive and just like remain one of the best shows on TV even after his whole thing. And it like the show wasn't brought down because of him, because it was never his show to begin with. It was never his creative vision or whatever. It was always
didn't he just get like an EP credit or something?
He did. He was a writer on some episodes, but it was very, very much Pamela Adlon's show.
Yeah,
like it was her identity, like just like built into that. So yeah.
Well, I just wonder how much of that was just them because they were friends and so he got a credit.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there were a couple instances where it's like, oh yeah, Louis C.K. definitely wrote this scene or whatever, but yeah, for the most part, it was her show.
Yeah. Now I feel weird about ending on that.
Oh, nobody's listening.
Yeah.
2 hours in.
Well, let me. I just don't want to end on that, so let me do something quick.
Yeah.
So there are. Well, maybe I'll just do this first. Okay.
Oh, we're going there.
This is just now the JRPG segment. We're not gonna do the whole thing, but so yeah, did it all for the Moogles, just JRPGs now because I can't fit anything anywhere else. So there are some heavily hinted rumors coming from a known leaker. And the leaker is credible in the sense that they just leaked the Persona 4 Arena Ultimax re-release, which Atlas then announced like the next couple of weeks after it was leaked. So from that same leaker that did that is now saying that there is going to be a remaster of Persona 3 Portable. And as of this recording, that there's nothing been released with that, and I mean there probably won't be during the holidays. Now, this is interesting because whenever I talked about the Persona 25th anniversary, I made some of my own predictions, and one of them was a Persona 3 remaster, or at least re-release of some sort. So the person doing the leak is saying Persona 3 Portable, and there are not any details about that yet. This is interesting, and depending on what they do, could be the right way to do it, or it could be a mistake, because Persona 3 Portable is not the full game in a couple ways. The portable version, the exploratory elements, the school life elements, where like you go around the city and you talk to people, that was done in 2D rather than the 3D environments, because it was released on the PSP.
Mm-hmm.
So that was all done in 2D. So the map layouts are different. It's all in a 2D space. It's all like sprite based, and like you move around it with a cursor. But the battle system is 3D, and you actually get direct party control, which was not in the original. You gave them tactics to do, and your party members would loosely follow them.
What console was the original released on?
PS2.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's PS2 and then PSP for Persona 3 Portable. Persona 3 Portable also doesn't have the FES expansion, which includes, I guess, sort of the conclusion to the story. I wouldn't say it's completely necessary, but it's like the Western release of the original Persona 3 for PS2 came with the expansion. So it was considered the intended experience, but it was not part of Persona 3 Portable. On the flip side, Persona 3 Portable had the female protagonist, plus additional social links. So technically, neither game is complete. So the fact that they're saying that they're remastering Persona 3 Portable, to me, means that they want to include the female protagonist, because she's been a part of the marketing, especially the marketing for the 25th anniversary. She was included in Persona Q2. So they're trying desperately not to leave her out of recent marketing and recent games, recent crossovers, blah, 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 blah. They're trying not to erase her because she has an attachment to the fan base. But Persona 3 Portable is not the definitive Persona 3.
Right.
I don't think it translates well in a modern context. The 2D exploration is what was just a half-baked solution to get the game to fit onto the PSP.
Yeah, it was a hardware solution, like a solution to constraints, yeah.
Yeah, so if this is releasing on modern hardware, there is no reason why it can't be fully rendered in 3D. Like, Persona 4 Golden was the HD version of Persona 4, and it was on the PSP, or PS Vita. So if this is like the definitive version of Persona 3 needs to be the 3D exploration with the Persona 3 Portable social links with the female protagonist, but with the FES expansion. And so you would have to like jury rig both games. And I don't think they're going to do that, unfortunately, based on their track record of game remasters. If you look at Persona 4 Golden, the port to PC, which came out earlier this year, or was it last year? I can't remember. Recently, at least. That was just a straight port from the Vita game to PC, and so all it was just unlocked frame rate and unlocked resolution. Other than that, it's the exact same game. Nothing else was touched. Like, they just made sure it ran on PC at ridiculously high frame rates and resolutions, and that's it. Like, all you can change is the shadow detail. Other than that, and I mean, like, not in shadow in the Persona sense. I mean, shadow.
Yeah.
you have to specify. So, and then the Nocturne HD remake was, they basically ported the engine over to Unity and made it run in 1080p, and that was about it. They made some slight gameplay tweaks, and that was it. They did not touch anything else. So I don't think that they're going to suddenly make the ultimate Persona 3 that the game necessarily deserved based on their track record of porting games. And I think if they're just going to upscale Persona 3 Portable as it is, I think that is a huge mistake. If anything, I would rather see them port Persona 3 with the FES expansion, and then them to give it direct party control like Portable has. And that means cutting out the female protagonist, unfortunately, but I think that would be better for the modern sensibilities of players and also of Persona fans. But But I don't know. Because I just don't see them doing the work necessary to make the definitive Persona 3 that the game should have. Like,
It sounds a little complicated trying to take a character that wasn't in that version and inserting them into it.
Yes, only because, so in Persona 3 Portable, if you play as the female protagonist, the social links change. And like now you can have like romantic social links with the boys, which you can't do whenever you're the male protagonist because Japan, because Atlas.
Is that the gayest game you've ever played?
No.
Okay.
No. Like they have for whatever reason, like you can't be gay in Persona.
I thought you were saying if you're playing as the male protagonist, you can no?
No, you can't.
Okay.
And there's really no reason for it. Like at all. There's no excuse, honestly. There's if it's supposed to be your playable character, you should be able to date whoever you want.
I'm just picturing like you pick up the Blu-ray copy of Power of the Dog, and the blurb on the back. It's like a quote from like a critic. It's like the gayest movie I've ever seen. Sorry.
2 thumbs up.
Yes.
But yeah, like no, there's no reason you can't be gay. Like there's no excuse for why you shouldn't be able to.
It's the year 2021. Get it together.
Yeah, like there's famously a cut gay social link from Persona 4, and it's like, well, why?
Yeah.
Why is that on the cutting room floor? There's no excuse.
Well, Persona 4 had some other controversies, didn't it?
Persona 5 did.
Yeah.
They fixed they sort of fixed the localization for that with Royal. But part of it was also misunderstanding of a specific Japanese trope. I think I've explained this on another episode, but yeah. So they basically fixed that in Royal. They're not the best with handling LGBT stuff in Persona. They're better than a lot of other Japanese things, but they're not the best. But yeah, no, there's absolutely no excuse why you can't have gay social links. It's just honestly laziness. But anyway, so like if you do Persona 3 and then just like kind of plop in the female protagonist, some of the social links just like won't make complete sense. It'll just be like you're playing as a different character that doesn't correlate well.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess you'd have to then insert also the Persona 3 portable social links. I just don't see them doing all that work. I really don't. And I think just straight up porting Persona 3 Portable is a mistake without actually like playing a high resolution version of the 2D sprites is not. I don't see people enjoying that in 2020, 2 or 23 whenever it comes out. I just don't see it. Yeah, especially if the battle system will still be in 3D.
Because the series has become more and more accessible and widely played. So it's like, why would you want to take a step back, right?
Yeah. I think it would be a big mistake.
But you would play it though.
But of course I would. But it still wouldn't be the version of Persona 3 that I would desperately want to play.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, but I guess we'll see. That is just a rumor. It is just a potential leak. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but this same leaker did predict the Persona 4 Arena re-release. So I guess we will see.
So I see that Persona Strikers is going to be one of the PlayStation Plus games for next month.
Oh, is it? I actually haven't played it yet because I've been saving it.
Is that is that the game that's like a sequel to Persona 5?
Yes.
That's a pretty big deal, isn't it?
Kind of. Like they say things are sequel and canonical, and it's like, yeah, sure, whatever, But it's the gameplay is styled after like a Dynasty Warriors hack and slash, but apparently it's better than that. It's more thoughtful in the way that it uses the combat system than just hack and slash beat 'em up.
Right.
So yeah, I've been saving it. I haven't played it yet. I pre-ordered it, but I haven't touched it.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was playing Royal for the Platinum, and then I was playing SMTs to get ready for SMT 5. So I have not played it yet. It's on my shelf. But that actually is cool. I didn't know that was coming to Plus.
I'm not sure if that's confirmed either. I saw maybe it was leaked or maybe there were rumors. So can't say for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's on sale a lot. So, because it did come out almost a year ago now. But yeah, I guess we'll see. So far, the announcements for the 25th anniversary have been underwhelming to say the least.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly been a bunch of merch drops. So, and the fighting game, which is a re-release, and I don't care about. whatsoever.
Yeah.
But we shall see. This one would be the biggest announcement yet. But yeah, it all depends on how they do it. We'll see. Mm-hmm. We should wrap this up because I'm running out of steam.
Yeah.
I didn't want to end on Louis C.K. That's just what I wanted to avoid that situation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. And thank you for listening this whole year. The second half of the year, we really trucked along with the weekly episodes, and it was a lot of fun. We'll keep doing it next year. I'm not going to do any sappy retrospective or anything like that.
No.
But yeah, we'll keep trucking along in 2022. We hope you'll join us for the ride. I have some plans. We're gonna do some stuff.
Oh, do you?
So yeah.
That's news to me.
I got things in the works. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you'll stick around. We'll be here. We got nothing else to do. As always, you can follow me Twitter at DeadEndRoad, Facebook.com/DeadEndRoadTV, Twitch.tv/DeadEndRoadTV. Do a YouTube search for DeadEndRoadTV, and you can email us anything at all. Oh, next time, oh my God, New Year is going to be filled with so many dead letters. I got so much shit this week. Holy shit. Email anything at all, video@deadendroad.co.
I was thinking, should we ask listeners to like rate the show? Because doesn't that help?
It does. I just haven't. See, if I don't write it down, then I don't read it. Yeah, if you are listen on Apple Podcasts, and I know some of you do because I have the numbers for that. If you throw us a rating, even if it's a shitty rating, that boosts our discoverability. So if you want to take the time, just click on the star thingy, give us a rating. That helps out a lot, actually.
I mean, I feel like a solid 3 out of 5 is reasonable.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not?
I'm not going to ask for a 5-star review just because.
Yeah. But yeah, that would help us out a lot. But we do just appreciate you listening, especially if you stick it out to the end of the show, because these suckers get long even after I edit them. But yeah, we will see you next year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Weird to say. Yeah. See you in the next one.
All right.